Welcome, Instagram family. Very good afternoon to all of you, and thank you for joining this session today with us. So, today we have Sonia joined us. She's a student at California State University and she's pursuing her master's in business analytics. So, she'll be sharing her insights as to how her journey has been till now in the USA. And from her experiences, I hope you will be able to learn a lot and you will be able to gain a lot of knowledge as well. So thanks for joining in again, Sonia. So over to you. Would request you to start with your brief introduction so students can get to know you a bit better.
Okay, so starting off, like my name is Sonia Sunny, and I'm 25 years old. I did my bachelor's from Father Agnes in Vashi in computer science, and from there on, I worked in TCS, and after two plus years of experience, I decided to do my master's, and I came in abroad at California State University and I started pursuing my master's in business analytics, and I'm still studying at the university as a student. Like I still have just one project left, but I'm also working full time with Western Alliance Bank. So throughout my journey, I think I did well as a student, and now I'm also working. So I'm quite happy with my journey so far. It's been a roller coaster ride, but yeah, quite pretty good. And I think I'd be, at least a few of my suggestions would be helpful for a lot of students who are, yet planning to move abroad for their studies. So I think
Mhm.
a little bit of help that I think I did not get those extra additional tips, but I hope I can help others with it.
That's kind of you, Sonia. So thanks a lot for taking that initiative.
Mhm.
And like coming to the main thing is that like why did you select USA as a study destination? So what was the main reason of shortlisting USA as one of the primary study destinations from your end? And how was your experience with Shiksha when you started with your shortlisting and everything?
Okay, so let me tell you, USA was not my first choice. I
Okay.
first had chosen to go to Germany because it was less expensive and there are a lot of perks when going to Germany as a student. Basically, all your student life, including the tuition fee, it's like a government paid university, so your tuition fee is bare
Mm-hmm.
minimum, and plus everything else, including the transportation to the living expenses, bare minimum. So I mean, living as a student there would have been like much lesser expense. But at the same point of time, I did find something like there are a few, I can say, disadvantages as well. One of that is language barrier for sure, because learning German language is very tough. I also joined in a class, but I think learning a language right from the start and scratch is very difficult, and I don't think anyone can do it until you stick to it and you're very adamant for it. Then that's the different story. But
Exactly.
yeah, yes. And then I had like then my second option was like US, but obviously because US being the major resource of all the knowledge in the good universities
Mm-hmm.
entirely across the world, and plus the quality of the education, which is very well known in US, of course. So even though US was, out of my budget, I decided I think I should take this major step and take this as a kind of part of my investment rather than, liability. So yeah, that's why
So
US.
that's great.
Yeah.
Great. And how was your experience with Shiksha's team? So like what all other university options were provided to you when you initially started with your application?
Okay. So initially, I was completely assigned with a single, person who would accommodate, who helped me like throughout the process. His name is Bauk. I'm not sure he's
Okay.
still with the organization, but he was really a kind and
Mm-hmm.
nice person. And I think, having such personal assistance throughout your journey is very much necessary, um, because not everyone gets to have that kind of personal assistance, and For your information, everyone else should also know that Shiksha is a government-based organization which works entirely for students and
Mm-hmm.
completely free. So everyone who's coming abroad should actually take advantage of this opportunity and look forward to, work to go towards with Shiksha instead of paying for other counseling and, getting robbed on too much money for that. But yeah, so I mean, my experience with Shiksha was extremely good. I was personally assisted with each and every single doubt in every single stage, starting from, listing down the universities to the region which I wanted to relocate to. I mean, which region should what I want to go in the US, including including Chicago or including
Mm-hmm.
uh, San Diego because I got admits from San Diego, I got admits from Chicago as well. But at the end, um, it was all about, um, you know, pinning down one particular application based on all your requirements. And I was really helped with all of that practice. And at the end, I was also helped with, how to like go further with my loan and also my visa, my passport things, even including my DS-160 form filling. I was really assisted personally. So that's something that I really admired about this organization that they step in forward to help students genuinely. And yeah, that's what my opinion is about.
Okay, that's great. So you gave a lot of insights as to like how your journey was with the counselor as well as how Shiksha helped you. So that was
Yeah.
quite insightful.
Hmm.
So great. And I'll request the students who have joined in case if you have any sort of doubts as well from your end, you can start posting your questions in the comment box or the Q&A box. And once we conclude with the session, we'll be taking up your questions as well. So coming back to you again, Sonia. Uh, so you decided the university, you decided the country, everything was done. So what all prerequisite examinations you had to go for? So, any particular examinations, like did you have to go for GRE or GMAT, any sort of those examinations, apart from
Yes.
IELTS? So, what all were the prerequisite requirements that you had to fulfill before
Yes. Yeah.
completing your process?
Yes, as in I think to enter into US, you would definitely need IELTS and GRE in most of the universities. I think somewhere
Mm-hmm.
around in COVID was only an exception where the GRE was waived off. But other than that, all the universities did require us to have the GRE and IELTS done. So I think that's the only two prerequisites that we needed. Yeah. And apart from that, we also needed to have some LORs from our professors, obviously LOR and SOP, statement of purpose. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
And like how, say, like California State University is one of the most prestigious universities in USA.
Mhm.
So every student who would be looking forward to studying in the USA would like to know how the campus life is, how the faculty is. So if you can share your experience related to that, like how was the campus when you initially started your journey, and how has your experience been with the faculty, especially being an international student?
Right. So the campus is extremely diverse. We have students from right from China to Japan to India to I mean there is a wide variety of students and I think the diversification of people gets you to know about a lot about their culture and brings in a lot to the table. I think
Mm-hmm.
which is very important. Um, that's one thing that I can say. Another thing about professors is they are very professional. They are very knowledgeable about what they are teaching, and I know, and they know for sure what they are teaching about. So definitely they can help you and guide you to know more about that in the same line. I mean, and every subject has a project aligned with it. So at the end, it's all about a POC, proof of concept
Mm-hmm.
of the subject. So in order to get through the subject, you have to make sure that you get through the project as well, which may be individual or maybe a group. But yeah, I mean that's also a good time to share your insights and your knowledge with professor and as well get his valuable feedback. So yeah, a very good quality of professors for sure. Yeah, and for
Mm-hmm.
each of the subjects, and for each of the subjects you can have like multiple professors, because it depends totally upon the batch that the professor is teaching, or the at the time that a professor is available. So these batches are split into the, like, depends upon the number of students
Hmm.
and the professor that teaches it. So, multiple professors can teach a subject depending upon which batch you belong to. So, yeah,
Okay,
that's pretty much it.
that's great.
Mhm.
And like since US has a completely different sort of setup in like the education, so how difficult was it for you? Like since you have done all your basic education and your bachelor's in India, so how difficult was it for you to adjust to the like education system in the USA?
Um, I think somewhere the education system in India has already taught us to, be rigorous with our assignments and things. But one thing for sure is which I think the assignments here are not same for everyone. And
Okay.
in case someone copies some other person's materials or something, the professor for sure
Mm-hmm.
knows that it's a plagiarism, and everything here is strictly against plagiarism. They have their departments to monitor that, and they are strictly against any kind of academic dishonesty, and we can be under
Mm-hmm.
like serious, you know, what do you say, serious.
Offense.
Yeah, it's
It's
seriously
counted as some
offensive.
sort of offense. Yeah.
Yes, and it can be reported to the dean, and can cause you some serious consequences. So it's better to be out of that. And plus,
Mm-hmm.
you have to bring up your own idea. You have to use your brains. You cannot just do a copy paste. And I think when it comes to India, I think we do have a lot of like assignments, um, but the materials can be similar or no. There is no check on that. Uh, but yeah, I think that's something that I think about, which is different from with the education system. And for the exams, we have like some professors take a mid exam, some professors take a just one final exam,
Mm-hmm.
but it depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hmm.
So that gave a lot of clarity on how different the like education system there is.
Yeah.
And one of the major challenges that like international students like back students who are looking forward to study internationally from India as well as different parts of the world face is related to accommodation. So like how was your experience? How did you plan your accommodation and like how like what was the process that you followed so that everything went smoothly in case of accommodation from your end?
Right. So I for sure knew that I am finalizing my study in California State University East Bay.
Mm,
So I knew for sure I have to look around somewhere near the campus for an accommodation. So the
mhm,
nearest location around my campus was City View, which is the nearest, and I think it has a lot. I mean, a good kind of community for students who have like alumni, or including the current students. There was a good amount of people. So I think staying in the community is really good for your student life and academic life. And
mhm,
I started my search back in New York. I started, joining groups specific to the university where the students are looking for accommodation, and then
mhm,
pairing up with those people to become roommates. So eventually 4 to 5 people of us, we paired up, and we started our journey as roommates. Yeah, so that's how I found my accommodation. I think accommodation is the last and the final step, and there'll be a lot of people who will be finding accommodation towards the end for sure. So that's something that you'll definitely get through.
okay, cool. And like how like what's the cost of living that you have to bear, like taking into consideration your accommodation and like fooding and everything, and like are the basic utilities included in your like rentals?
So the rent includes the utility bills as well. The utilities, I mean, it's like the all the general amenities. We
Mm,
also have including the microwave in the house, or the oven in the house, or the heater in the house, all of that,
mm,
or as well as the community amenities, which is the gym and the swimming pool and all the common amenities. Other than that, there are like trash bill, water bill, uh, trash, water, these bills, which is also included in the rent. So all of
mm,
this counts to be around like 550 to $600 per person. Yeah, and I think it varies where you stay, because there can be cheaper accommodations, just like just a flexible $50 to $100 between, but somewhere around it will cost you like 550 $600. And the electricity bill is different from these utility bills, because it goes through the Pacific Gas and Electricity Company. So it's PG&E bill called, and it's a separate bill, and that's around like on an average $120 per month, which can be shared like with five people. So I think around like $20 to $30 per month for a person. So including all of that, I can say it'll be like, max to max 650 for utilities, for electricity, for rent and everything. And apart from that, the groceries and everything is a separate kind of thing that totally depends upon your expenditures. So yeah,
mm.
the groceries are getting quite expensive out here in California for sure. But
Yes,
yeah,
it's one of the
uh,
most like expensive cities to live in.
yes, it is. But students in, I know for sure a lot of universities in California, they have the pantry system in which
Mm-hmm.
they give the students free food, free supplies of food. Like the food items involved are like, vegetables, mixed vegetables, or cauliflower, or oranges, or apples, or cornflakes, or um, milk can, or an oil can, small, a little bit of supplies, which you can just go into your university website, and then you can like take it once a week. These are like for the students. These are
Okay,
the,
that's
you know,
great. So that is paid from the universities and then they give it on a discounted price.
yeah, no, 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 it's completely free.
Oh, it's completely free. Okay,
Yes,
that's great.
these things are completely free from the university. So I think a lot of universities in California do that for the students.
Hmm.
That's a perk,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Mm.
that's a very good gesture from the universities and to help out the students.
Yes, it is.
Great. And like since accommodation is one of the important factors, another important factor is like part-time jobs.
Mhm.
So like have you started working part-time or did you work part-time earlier? And like how was your experience? What sort of jobs are being offered to the students who work part-time?
So the part-time starts from like dining on campus. There will be a place where um, all the students are all the students are dining at a discounted price. Most of the students who live on campus, for them they have
Hmm.
like a different dining place. In our university, it's like a buffet system. So for $12 to $13, you can have as much lunch as you want. So that's a
Hmm.
buffet system. And so students get to work part time in the dining. I used to work in dining for
Okay.
like two months, I'm sorry, 2 semesters.
Hmm.
So that was a good experience for me. I think I completely learned how to gel with other people, especially the superiors. That was the first phase of my journey. Learning journey. So I really appreciate those who were through that journey with me. So that's good. That the
Hmm.
first ever job that I got into the US. So
Okay.
that, and other than that, I know for sure students also opt for market cashiers, or libraries, or you know any other organizations that work remotely on campus, like the
Hmm.
student organizations, like SCA, or um, ASCI, any other organizations that work remotely. So
Hmm.
including library, bookstore, yeah, all these places students can get their on-campus job. It totally depends upon the availability. And on-campus job are very limited. Like it totally
Okay.
depends upon the availability. And since there are a lot of students coming, and you should like uh, book your positions for the on-campus as soon as possible, even before entering into the US. Because I filled my application even before entering into the US. I knew before entering into the US that I already have an on-campus job. So that's how you need to find. And in case you don't do that, you will have to wait for like 1, 2 semesters before you actually get it. Because I know a lot of my roommates who were with me but who didn't get into because
Hmm.
they didn't apply before, so they had to wait for like 2 semesters to actually get into an on-campus job. So it can be really tough as well. It depends upon your plan.
Okay, great. So, apart from that, like since you have already shared experience related to part-time jobs, any particular part-time jobs related to your own field? So, how has business analytics been like one of the options that you've selected as your master's? So, like, did you get any sort of part-time opportunities related to that, or all the opportunities were related to like the ones that you shared, like related to buffet or cashiers and all of that? So, how's your experience been till, or any other friends of yours who have had part-time jobs related to their own particular field?
Yeah, I think there are some limited positions that offer a business analysis or data analyst positions
Hmm.
that are very minimal within the campus and that I think require some kind of recommendations from the professors or something. So I don't think that's what you get at the right beginning stage. That for that you need like some kind of experience or interaction with the professor such that he can recommend you.
Hmm.
So that's
Okay, cool.
yeah, that's limited. On the campus,
Okay,
that's limited.
okay. And apart from that, like how has the placement like have you seen students go through the placement process there? And how does a student go about the placements? Because back in India, you have this system where you have a placement drive going on the campus, and once you are graduated, the college or university would help you out with job opportunities, right? So how is the system in the USA? So are you provided job opportunities from the university's end, or the students go about it from themselves?
So when it comes to like job opportunities in US, there are like a lot of people who are looking out for it. So universities are not going to offer any kind, uh, assistance with searching for a job or getting into a job.
Hmm.
That's totally our forte. We have to explore and apply and give interviews and get through. That's totally upon us. Universities don't help with that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
like how do you go about placements there? So you have to like search it on LinkedIn, or do you have some sort of job fairs there that students can attend?
Yes. So we do have job fairs. Job fairs mostly happens because some of the companies do want to, publicize about their products or their company. Their hiring is
Mm-hmm.
as well limited. Uh, so it depends upon if they have this requirement as what field of major you are from, and they might need like a good amount of experience to hire you.
Okay.
As well as yeah, so and you need to search through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best way where you can search for a job. uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, LinkedIn. So I mean job search is a task, is bit of a task here, especially at this point of time it's the recession, so a lot of people are getting laid off, in fact
Mm-hmm.
in the opposite direction. But yeah, otherwise as well, it's job search is a complete student's responsibility, and it's completely our takeaway.
Okay. So, like, since you've shared you just said that there's some recession going on in the USA. A lot of things are going on overall the world, like the war between Ukraine and Russia that caused a lot of economic crisis. And apart from that, we have been hearing a lot of banks are suffering in the USA right now. A lot of
Right.
banks are going down due to financial crisis. So, are jobs and like the inflation rates directly being affected? Have you started seeing effects of it on the current economy or the market? Like, have you seen certain differences in the prices of the basic commodities or just general things that you must have seen there?
Yes, the prices of the groceries, including the groceries or any kind of commodity, have started to spike, and
Hmm.
overall, it's affecting the market as well. The stocks of several organizations have come down to a level. I am currently working full time in Western Alliance Bank, So I know for
Hmm.
sure Western Alliance Bank is like 60% down, even though our CEO has, well informed us that we are in a good state and we are hanging out and we are well prepared for this. And since recently the Silicon Valley Bank and the Signature Bank fell, collapsed
Hmm.
and was undertaken by the government, I think there is a complete panic mode for all the banks out there. Uh, so I think it's a downfall, but I think this we shall get through this as well. Little we shall get through this as well. So, but yeah, at this point of time, finding a job is getting very difficult. I know for sure a lot of my friends who had the job opportunity were, taken back their offers, and they were
Hmm.
already on the EAD. I mean, their OPT period had started, and once the OPT period starts, you have only 60 days to get a job. So since their application was taken back, they have no other choice but to, find another job before they
Oh.
get deported, from the US. So
Hmm.
yeah, so that's the threshold, the 60 days, and that's very kind of risky and
Yeah, it's
very
very scary
traumatizing.
for any student who has invested a lot of money, especially to get settled
Exactly,
there. So
exactly.
quite difficult.
That's very traumatizing. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's for sure. And it totally depends upon the company that hires you. The company should completely be able to back you up, even though they are facing a downfall. Many of the companies might lay you off because the biggest asset or biggest expense for a company is the pay that they give out for an employee. So the first
Hmm.
thing that they'll do is try to reduce their workforce. So
Exactly.
employees are always at risk, but it depends upon the company, I believe.
Alright. So obviously, US is one of the most strongest economies. So there would be things that they would start doing to come out of it, and hopefully things would get all right.
Yes.
And like we were discussing regarding the placement, so like what about the packages there? So what's the average package that a student can get, and what's the highest package? If you can share details related to that.
So I think when it comes to package, it totally depends upon your role, your past experience, and like the company's budget, of course. So I mean, anyone who's working as a business analyst, I can say for a business analyst, the starting range might be like, $60,000 per year to maybe 100, $120 per year as a business analyst
Mm-hmm.
with over like 2, 3 years of experience, obviously. With no experience, I think it might be around 65 $65,000, uh, yeah, per year. But along with the, when you say package, the base package is different. There comes a base, then there comes the investment for stocks and
Mm-hmm.
401k. 401k is a retirement account
Okay.
that's maintained for the employee,
Mm-hmm.
and the employer matches in the 401k as well. And a fixed amount of that is being reduced every month from your payroll to into a retirement account. So that's the 401k benefit. And apart from
Mm-hmm.
that, we also have like medical benefits and dental benefits and vision benefits and everything. So that's a complete package, what we call as.
Okay.
Some of the companies also offer a relocation, compensation. For example,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to relocate in Arizona in May after I'm graduated. So I would be
Mm-hmm.
compensated with with a good thousand amount. I mean, a few thousand amount of dollars for
Mm-hmm.
relocating. So
Okay. That's
it
great.
totally depends upon your company.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's
Mm.
great. And like, how is the taxation system there? Like, do students have to pay certain sort of taxes as well on the earnings that they do, like be it from their part times or their full time jobs? So, like, if you can give us some details related to that.
Yeah, so when we talk about the package, I think half of that you should be ready to give away for the taxes
Oh.
because the taxes are a lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
California, I know for like overall, including the state tax, the federal tax. Then there is something called as SSN Medicare, and then there is again something called as CA State Disability Tax, and all these are mandatory except for the SSN and Medicare. SSN Medicare
Mm-hmm.
tax you are not supposed to give as an F1 student. You can reclaim that back. Uh, but apart from that, the federal and state tax, and overall, it sums up to like 23% of total. So it's a lot when it comes to monthly deductions. But as a student, you can claim up to like 12,800. I mean, $12,800 per year. You can reclaim back from the government. That's the perk that you get as a student. So apart from that, anything other than that you're paying as a tax goes to the government. But you can reclaim that back. When you file for your taxes as a return, you can get up to $12,800. So I recently
Mm-hmm.
filed for my taxes, and first year I was in 2021. I worked for a semester in on campus, and that
Okay.
plus the next another year, half of that I worked in on campus, and from summer season I started doing my internship for 40 hours, and I continued my internship for 20 hours. So overall, I can say um, I got a return of like 3,000, $4,000. I can say
Mm-hmm.
total, total,
Oh.
including like the FICA tax, the for the on-campus
Mm-hmm.
FICA tax is like the SSN and Medicare tax, so that we can
Okay.
claim back. Yeah, so all of that including, so we can claim that back as well, but there is a limit. But this is only when you are an F1 student.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are an H1B, when you convert your F1 to an H1B work visa, at that point of time, I don't think you can claim that amount of taxes back, because now you are no more a student, you are an employee for the US. So the tax rules
Okay.
changes.
But still, as you said, the taxes are on a very higher side. So it will be a very like a dramatic change for any particular student who moves from India, because we have a certain taxation system in India. That too, there are a lot of steps which a particular person can do to just avoid the taxes here.
Right,
But in US, it's
right,
quite stringent. Okay.
right.
So, mhm,
Yeah.
great. And
So add 8% to the total tax when on H1B. Yeah, I think when on H1B you have to pay like more taxes. So H1B is more
okay,
tax.
so more than 8% of the total tax.
Yeah, I think he's saying like an additional more 8% of the total tax. But yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know that yet. Maybe I don't have an H1B yet, but yeah. But it
Mhm.
depends upon the state to state. Some states have lesser tax, because I know states like Texas and Nevada, they don't have taxes, state taxes. They only have federal
Mhm.
taxes. So
Okay.
yeah, but for the rest of the states, they have like it varies from state to state. What's the state tax? For California, it's the highest. Yeah.
So basically, every state have their own tax laws, and every state would have their own slab that a
Mm,
particular person has to go through.
right.
Okay, that's good. And as of now, apart from like business analytics, what all other particular sectors are at boom in the USA? So, for example, if I'm a student and I'm planning to study in the USA, what all particular sectors I can look forward to as to what sort of courses I can select, and basically look forward to like being successful in the USA. So, what all other sectors as per you are at boom right now?
So I think that totally depends upon what you're passionate about studying and what you have had previous experience about. I know for sure a lot of people who don't have the prior experience but who want to explore into the new field have done
Mm-hmm.
so. Like people from electrical engineering have switched to business analysis or data analyst masters as well. I know for sure. So it totally depends upon what you want to do. But I think software engineers obviously are the highest most paid people as developers, and then data scientists or business analysts, data analysts, all of that. It varies from roles to roles, experience to experience, and you're paid
Mm-hmm.
according to all the factors.
Okay,
Mm.
that's good. And like, how has how has the Indian student community been there? So, do you have a lot of friends who are back from India? And how often do you meet Indian people there? So, like, how has your journey been so far for that?
Indians are everywhere. Indians,
Okay.
you will. I don't think there is any state that Indians haven't conquered or Indians are not there. Indian students are everywhere. Indian employees are
Hmm.
everywhere. In my university, in my company, I think even the majority in my company are Indians. So
Okay.
that's the amount of Indian people that we are bringing in from India to abroad, which is a very good
Hmm.
thing. So yeah, even my community is completely called as a Telugu city,
Hmm.
because the majority of the people over there are Telugu.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's
so
quite good
a lot of
because
people.
obviously you won't feel that homesick because you'll have people from your particular homeland and have food all around, do Indian things that people
You
usually do.
you will be homesick of Indian people at the end, not of Americans over here. So
Okay.
at the end, you will be like too many Indians over here. I don't want to. There are not as many Indians as in India as much as in US actually.
So so you
And
have had a lot of people around. I can experience that from the details that you
for
just
sure,
shared. Okay.
for sure. And
Cool.
even if you are looking around for restaurants or movie theaters or anything particularly based on Indian, everything here, every place has an Indian place for sure, for a famous Indian place
Hmm.
for sure. So yeah, so I mean even from dosa to paneer to chicken to
Hmm.
dal makhani, everything, naan or anything you can get, anything and everything. So don't worry about that.
Okay. So
Just
that's
that it's
quite,
expensive.
yeah. Obviously, it would be expensive. So how do you go about your fooding? So do you prefer cooking at home or you like prefer going out once in a week? So how do you go about your food and everything?
So I definitely prefer of cooking my food at home because
Hmm.
it's very economical. You cannot go outside. Because even for a dosa, if you go outside, it's like $20
Hmm.
just for a dosa. So the dosa that you pay in India for just like 40-50 rupees is now
Exactly.
here. If you convert it into Indian money, it's like 1600. Yeah,
Hmm.
1600 rupees, which is like
Oh.
no way. But once you start earning, you'll feel like $20 is like one time investment in something
Hmm.
that you like. So you cannot do it always for sure. You can do it like you know twice. I mean, once in 2 weeks. I do that once
Hmm.
in 2 weeks mostly for
Okay.
as something that going out, doing fun things,
Hmm.
so that should also be a part of the curriculum.
Exactly. That
Yeah,
would add up to a lot of experiences and good memories as well.
yeah, that's
Okay.
for sure.
So good. So we have almost covered all the topics, Sonia, that we had, and I was waiting for a few students to put up a question, but we only had one question from JRL, which we already took up.
Hmm.
So I think we can conclude with the session now. So thanks a lot again, Sonia, for joining us. And I know it's pretty late night there, and like you took out your valuable time for us. And I know
No
you have
worries.
things to catch up and do official duties as well. So thanks again for giving us your valuable time, and hope to see you soon again in the coming few weeks for another such session.
Sure,
So
sure.
thanks to the students as well for joining us. Have a great day,
Thank,
everybody.
thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you, everyone, for joining the live. Thank you.
All
Bye
right.
bye. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Oh, have a
Bye.
good morning.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Bye.
See you, Sonia. Thank you.
Bye.